I can hear you now.
Alright. Pretty sure it records straight away. It says it does.
Yep.
Sweet. So, we've had to restart a couple of times, but we've got everything sorted out. Um, guess we may as well start off with the introduction again, shouldn't we, Onyx?
Yeah, might as well.
Alright, so what we are Sports on Tap podcast. What we do, just a couple of blokes that love our sports, cover topics such as NFL, NBA, NRL, probably mainly NRL will be our biggest topic,
Yeah.
and NBA, NFL just like backup one. Obviously, once we do get to the NRL season, we'll be very very big on that. We'll be covering it every single week, of course. NBA and NFL will be a little backup. And then
Yeah.
if anyone wants to see any different sports, like soccer, cricket, of course, we can get a bit of detail going into, we can do a bit of research. Me, I do know a lot about cricket, so I can jump into that. But, soccer and all that. If you're big fans of me, you want to see it, of course, I'm sure we'll be happy to jump into it.
Mm.
So, what, I'll let Onyx talk about the first topic here. We'll jump into it.
So the first topic is Luai signs with the Tigers,
Oh,
which
well,
is actually surprising. And he signed, I believe, 6 million for 5 years, starting in
yes.
25, right?
Yeah, so that's 1.2 mil a season from 2025.
Fucking hell.
What a topic that! What an opening topic that is, Jerome Luai.
For me, I
Put the,
think that's a little bit too much. Like, I think maybe they're overestimating him a little bit, in my opinion. Like, 1.2 per year is like crazy.
yeah, for a three-time Premiership player, two-time Origin winner.
Mm.
Hasn't. I don't think he's won a five O's of the year. May have won one probably in 2020,
Mm.
but I don't think so. But I reckon that's an overpayment from the
Yeah,
West
yeah,
Tigers.
I agree, I agree.
But however, though, the new rule that the NRL added is the player has 10 days. Sorry, the club has 10 days to propose a better contract
Do you reckon the
than the
Panthers will?
rivals. No, because
Yeah, like,
Luai's agent said he's only going to sign 800K at max
oh,
from the Panthers,
mm,
and that's the maximum amount Penrith can offer. So Luai has not officially signed with the Tigers yet
mm,
because he has to wait for that 10-day agreement to come to a close. So I think he's got 8 more days left.
mm,
For the Panthers to match their offer. Um, not even the Panthers. I'm pretty sure it's any other team as well because we've been hearing rumors about the Bulldogs have also been in talk of trying to steal Luai from the Tigers.
mm.
But don't forget, the Tigers also did sign Jaden Sullivan from the
Oh,
Dragons
yeah,
for 500K, who's
mm,
only going to pretty much a waste of 500K because he only will be playing 5/8 for one season
mm,
until Luai joins the Tigers. If of course the Panthers don't match his offer sheet.
mm.
So, but I mean, it's going to be a good experience, with the Premiership winning coach Benji Marshall,
Yeah, yeah,
who's actually stepping into his first season as a head coach. Obviously, did coach the West Tigers in the final two games of the season. His first game came against the Dolphins, got up by a one, of course.
mm,
But it's going to be good for Luai and Benji,
yeah,
good signing for the Tigers, but I reckon it's an overpayment.
yeah,
1.2 mil a season, way over.
yeah. It's definitely a lot.
Big. But, I guess, Tigers do need it.
Oh
And,
yeah, definitely.
they've also got some good players like Adam Dewey. They got an up and coming star of Dream Buller,
Mm,
who's a young fullback. Obviously, like I said, Adam Dewey coming back. Appy Coruscant as well, the hooker. It's a bit of New South Wales connection there between Luai
mm.
and Appy. So the spine's going to be looking pretty good for the Tigers. obviously in 2025 with Dream Buller in that fullback, Luai 6,
Mm,
probably Brandon Wakeham at 7,
mm.
or Jaden Sullivan at 7, and then of course that'd be Coruscant. But Luai with the Tigers is a massive overpayment. That is
Yeah, it is massive
no
pain,
doubt
but I
about it.
guess at least it's better than him going to Bulldogs because apparently there was talks that he was actually going to go to Bulldogs. So I
Yeah,
guess,
well, the Bulldogs have obviously jumped more about them later on, but obviously they've got the big namings.
yeah, definitely.
Crichton, Reed
Mm,
Marnie, Viliana kick out. It's like Bulldogs don't really need that much.
yeah.
But that's Luai signing with the Tigers.
hmm
Speaking of signings, we've had another signing in the off season. Kurt Capewell is off to the New Zealand Warriors.
Ooh.
That is a huge, huge loss for the mighty Brisbane Broncos. Obviously, suffering that, I don't want to say it, but that heartbreaking defeat to the Penrith Panthers, 26-24.
Mm.
But what does this do for the Warriors, though?
Yeah, this gonna be interesting to see, like in 2024, like lots of like big teams or big names going to different teams. So it's gonna be interesting how to see how this goes and this affects Broncos.
Because he obviously will jump into that second row.
Mm.
And, you know, even for the Broncos, feels obviously they lost a couple of players this season,
Mm.
Kurt Capewell, Thomas Flegel, and the big one of Herbie Farnworth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, really big loss for the Bronx.
Mm.
And they're obviously going to chuck in young gun Dean Mariner in the center, which is possibly the predicament. Dean Mariner jump into the centers
Mm.
for the Bronx. But they still got a good side. You look at it, their spine is probably one of the best in the comp. Reece Walsh fullback, Ezra Mann, Adam Reynolds at 7 with Billy Walters at 9.
Mm.
And they've also got a young gun up and coming Blake Moser,
Mm.
who is a very, very good young rookie.
Mm.
Obviously shining down in the Queensland Cup.
Yeah.
So the Bronx, it's not a huge loss for the Kurt Capewell, not a huge loss for them, but obviously it does actually fill the shoes because
Yeah.
young
He's.
gun Brendan Piakura uh, obviously had a good season last year. He scored his
Yeah.
first NRL try,
Mm.
so he's going to be an upcoming star. But I don't know. It's
Yeah.
good for the Warriors,
Yeah. Good for the
but
Warriors. Good for them.
they do needed him because they actually they lost Josh Curran too the other week,
Yeah.
who went to the Bulldogs.
Mm.
I guess we'll have to wait and see on where Kurt fits. Or you obviously playing the second row.
Mm. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see when 2024 happens. And next up is Dolphins. So how do you think
The
they're gonna go
Dolphins.
in the
Well,
season up?
we just said it. They picked up Herbie and Tom Flegler, Jake Avarillo. There's two centers that have been acquired. Put Herbie on the left wing. Left center. Jake Avarillo on the right.
Mm.
You know, they've even got a good team. Hamiso, Herbie, Flegler, Anthony Milford,
Do you
Felice
think?
Kafusi. They've still got a very good team.
Do you think second year in, there's any chance of them making top eight?
Well, I mean, look at the team on paper, they should,
Yeah,
but it all comes down to their first couple of games.
yeah. Well, let me actually see what's their first couple games. So first game is Bunnies, obviously. Oh, sorry, no, not Bunnies.
No, it won't be the
It's
Bunnies because they're
actually
in Vegas.
Cowboys. My bad.
Cowboys at the side in Brizzy.
Mm.
Sunday Arvo footy, first game back at Suncorp. Sunday Arvo footy
Mm.
should be an absolute sellout.
Oh, that's gonna
And
be
the
such a good
Cowboys,
game.
obviously the last game that they played was
Mm.
against the Panthers and ended their season. Last time the Dolphins played was against the Wires and they got up them.
Mm.
But that first round is going to be pretty good. But then you look over the next week, they didn't play the Dragons and Redcliffe, and then look to the next week, They get 2 points at a bye, so they could have 6 points
Ooh.
in their first 3 rounds.
I mean, the Cowboys are gonna be tough, but they can definitely get. I reckon they could definitely beat the Dragons.
Ooh, and so looking at their first five. So obviously round one they play the Cowboys, and then the
Mm.
Dragons in round two. Then they get 2 points round
Oh.
three. So that's 6 points. That should be 6 points. You then look over to round four. They then
Oh.
travel up the M1 to play the Titans on the road. Last season, Dolphins beat the Titans twice, both by 2 points, 28-26 in that historic 26-0 comeback. They beat them 28-26 at Suncorp. They then took the game to Golden Point not long after, about 2 months after.
Yeah, and
They
then
won 23-21.
mm,
So they can win that game. So they could sit on 8 points there. And then, of course, in round five,
the Tiger. I'm
they
sorry,
should
Tigers.
they play the Tigers at Suncorp. That should be 10 points. They should start the season 4-0, top of the ladder by round five. But
That
then
would
it
be
just gets harder.
hectic if they were like
The
on top of
Dolphins
that.
could potentially start 4-0 on 10 points, top of the table. But this is where it slips away. Fast forward
Oh.
next week, round six, you play the Bronx at home.
Mm,
Friday night football, Suncorp Stadium against the Brisbane Broncos.
mm,
Rarely beat the Bronx at home unless you're a top tier team. You
yeah.
then fast forward next week to the Parramatta Eels.
Mm,
Hot, humid conditions in Darwin. Doesn't matter if it's in April. It's still autumn, but it's still going to be hot, humid conditions.
mm.
Parramatta are used to these conditions. They obviously played the Bronx 2 years in a row. They played the Bronx 2023 in Darwin. They played the Cowboys 2022 in Darwin. They played the Bronx again 2021 in Darwin. Fun fact, they lost 2 out of 3 of those games in Darwin.
Mm.
They lost to the Bronx last year 26-16. They then got absolutely dominated by the Cowboys 35-4. But then they dominated the Bronx 50 points to 6. So Eels are not quite used to that hot, humid conditions.
Mm.
But the Dolphins can start off 4-0 on 10
Oh
points,
yeah,
top of the
definitely.
table, until they play the Broncos and then Para. And
Mm.
then, yeah, fast forward next week, they play the Knights. So realistically,
Yeah.
so we'll look at that. So Knights should get a win. That's what, 4-2. Round eight, round eight, of course, they play the Knights. Fast forward to round nine, they played the Cowboys against. They played the Cowboys twice in the first nine
Ooh.
weeks. Should they win that? Depends
I
after the
mean, it's
first
not
game.
impossible. They have beaten the Cowboys before last year, I believe, right?
They beat the Cowboys in the first round they played. First time they matched up, it was the Dolphins winning 32-22, but then they then lost to the Cowboys later on in the season, 34 to
Oh
10 at
yeah.
Suncorp. So should they beat the Cowboys? I'm gonna say yes from a Hamaso brilliance. They then start the season 6-2. Fast forward round 10, they will start 7-2. They
Yeah, I
beat the
think that's
Seagulls on Thursday night.
yeah, I think that's
Dolphins
how
start
it's
the
gonna
season
be
7-2.
for the Dolphins are gonna start really high, winning a lot of games, and then around like
But then
around this.
I said this the other day. Come round 21, sorry, round 22,
Mm,
or is it round 20? So come round 20,
mm,
Dolphins top 8 the whole way through. Fast forward all the way to round 20, you play the Panthers on the road. Sunday
oh,
Arvo, you never beat the Panthers at home.
yeah,
Fast
they
forward
won't
a
win
week
that.
later, you then play the Titans at home, Sunday Arvo footy. You should beat the Gold Coast Titans at home. You
Mm.
then fast forward round 22, you travel to the other side of the country in Perth to play the Roosters. Now,
Ooh.
depending on the Roosters' season, do they fight for the playoff? Do they fight for finals footy? Let's say they don't. They've locked in the final spot. Not locked in, they're closing on that final spot. Dolphins, they're feeling confident.
Mm.
They should. This is a must win for the Dolphins, but the Roosters get up them. You then go a week later. you play the mighty Warriors at home, who are also trying to fight for a spot. Last year, the Warriors had that top four position locked in, so they didn't play 100. They didn't play the 100% their best team. Dolphins did. They won by 24. This time, both teams are 100%.
Mm.
Dolphins shouldn't win that game. You then go to round 24. You play the Bulldogs, which should be an easy win, but they lost by a point last season. Round 25, you play the Storm on the road. First time they played the Storm in Melbourne, you're expecting about a 50-2 win. Round 26, you play the Broncos again at home. This time it's your home game, but it's the Bronx home away from home. And then, of course, the final week, they take on the Knights. So from round 20, Dolphins only win the 2 games.
Yeah, so they actually might
So,
miss out of top 8 because like they have such a tough send off in the past like 6 rounds. Last 6 rounds.
That's what I reckon. They start off 7-2,
Mm.
and then finish the season 2-7.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
interesting.
2-5.
Yeah.
So top 8 all the way up until round 20,
Mm.
and slip away. That's how I reckon they go.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like they're gonna start
So,
really strong. In the middle of the season, they're gonna be like probably just or hanging on, and then at the end, it's just gonna completely fuck them with those couple of weeks versus like Panthers at home and Roosters.
yeah. Well, not going to be easy.
Mm.
But another one, obviously, probably the biggest news,
Oh,
and could be probably of NRL history. The NRL is off to Vegas in March.
that's hype. That's hype.
We are 3 months away from seeing the NRL back in the US. Obviously, not many people know this, but back in 1987, there was 4 Origins played. State of origin. The 4th game was actually played in California, Long Beach, and I'm pretty sure that was the last time the NRL hosted a game in America. And another fun fact, that's the last time Parramatta won a premiership. So America had a game. NRL's taken a game to Vegas before Parramatta wins a premiership. What does that say about the Parramatta Eels? They ain't winning a bloody premiership soon.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, that's not the point. NRL to Vegas. How good is that?
Yeah, I'm excited. Bunnies versus the Seagulls, and then Broncos versus the Roosters, I believe.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting. Obviously, the Bunnies are going to win. As being a Bunnies supporter, going to smash the Seagulls, put them where they belong.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be easy for Manly.
Yeah,
And it's not going to
definitely
be
not.
easy for the Roosters either. It's going to be
Oh
a
yeah.
walk in the park for both teams.
Yeah, easily 13 plus.
Obviously, first game at, I believe, 1:30, 12:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Manly versus the Bunnies. Fast forward 2 hours later, you got the main game, the Roosters and the Bronx.
Ooh.
Because who cares about the curtain raiser of the Bunnies? Yeah, I reckon it's going to be good. Doesn't matter, who wins, who loses. Obviously, it's going to be one winner, one loser. But if you're a fan of any one of those 4 teams like ourselves, and our team loses, you still got to appreciate that. You've witnessed your team in a very historic game in Vegas.
Yeah, and hopefully it broadens up the sport to like a lot of the Americans and that, and hopefully more popularize it over there because it is a very good sport. Like NRL is definitely up there.
NRL is definitely up there, and
Mm.
back in early December this year, the tickets are all sold out for Las Vegas.
which is very good to hear. I'm very happy to hear that. That's so good.
So 65,000 people are ready to go watch a doubleheader in Vegas, and we're not even in 2024, and the game's already sold out.
Which is so nice to hear.
So that is good for the sport, and obviously we're gonna wonder how many Americans, how many Australians, how many New Zealanders even.
Oh
You know, New Zealand and obviously shorter distance to America,
yeah. Mm.
but obviously you've seen a couple of the boys, Aaron Woods, Campbell Graham, Spencer Leniu, and Billy Walters all over there the other week for the Raiders Chargers game. They were obviously promoting NRL
Yeah.
in Vegas,
Mm.
so it's good to see those boys over there already. And I think the Broncos are going to train with the Rams the week they're over there.
The rule with the Rams.
They will train with the Rams.
Oh shit! I didn't hear about
The
that.
Los Angeles Rams will train with the Brisbane Broncos, even
Cool.
though their season's over.
I actually did
They
not hear
was
about that.
they're going to train with them, and the Broncos are at their facility for the whole week. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, it's
sounds
going to
like the
be
Bronx are gonna roll over the Roosters.
they're going to steamroll over them. Obviously, last year we took care of them at
Mhm.
the Gabba, smoked them 32-10. Obviously, the Roosters they didn't have the best of seasons last year.
Mm.
Surprisingly falling short of the finals, even though people had them winning the premiership. They were favourites before the season had begun,
Yeah.
and then they actually made it to a semi-final against the Storm. So
Mm.
I think they won like 6 in a row to win up their season, which was very very huge.
Very crazy.
Um,
All
well,
right.
that's
Well,
Vegas.
speaking of steamrolling, Bulldogs. How do you think their season's gonna go?
Well, steamrolling is not one way to put it. They won't be steamrolling anyone.
Yeah, more like the opposite on the Bulldogs.
Well, obviously we said it before. They signed Stephen Crichton,
Yeah.
probably the biggest signing of the season
Mm.
is definitely Stephen Crichton to the Bulldogs.
Mm.
But it depends where he's going to play though, because they've got rookie Blake Taff from the Rabbits, who actually is fighting with Crichton for the fullback position. And Blake said he wants to make number one his main priority.
Mm.
So if that's the case, we might see Stephen Crichton sticking to the centers where he belongs.
Mm.
Even though he plays more like a fullback, but uh, coach has got one job. That's to put him in the centers, but that's not. There's also other positions that
Yeah.
have got to be changed around because there's a possibility of Matt Burton moving back into the centers where he first started as a Penrith Panther.
Mm.
Well, not where he first started. He's obviously started 5'8", but
Mm.
make that switch to the centers during their 2021 Premiership run.
Yeah.
So we could see Burton back in the centers. Obviously, Bronson Xerri's coming off that 4-year ban from his drug suspension.
Mm.
So we could see him on the wing with Josh Adokar. So going to be a lot of movements.
Yeah,
That
I mean, you
a
never
lot
know.
of movement.
Like with the steamrolling part, like Bulldogs are known like every 10 years to like make the grand final. Like 10 years ago, they met in the grand final against which team again?
They met the Bunnies in
Yeah, the Bunnies. Yeah, that's right.
2014. Then 2004 they met the Cowboys I think in
Mm.
2004.
And plus with these
So
signings, I mean, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
you can't count out the Bulldogs, but
Mm-hmm. Extremely
we
unlikely, but
we even said
nothing is
that
impossible.
2022 when Burton and Adokar signed with them.
Mm.
They haven't made the finals since the 2018-19 season.
Mm.
So Yeah, she's going to be Bulldogs. They're going to be a fun team to watch, that's for sure.
Oh yeah,
But
it's gonna be interesting.
they're going to be an interesting team.
Yeah.
Well, here's another interesting topic. The first time ever we are seeing a game that is being taken over to another country, and the Storm and the Knights will be playing a preseason game in Fiji for a very first time in NRL history.
Ooh.
Now, obviously, Fiji, they're not really league based fans. They're more rugby union fans because they got their Fiji and Drua Super Rugby team for union.
Mm.
They've got some. They're obviously very good in union, probably the best rugby sevens team ever.
Mm.
So they're not really rugby league fans, rugby league country, more of a rugby union, but they do have a Fijian international league team.
Mm.
So obviously played in the World Cup in 2022. They played in the Pacific Championships. They did. Pretty sure they ended up losing to Papua New Guinea, if I'm correct. Just confirm that.
Yeah, why are you confirming that? Yeah, that's big news. Having it played in Fiji, just like with Las Vegas in America. Hopefully, it'll bring up more eyes to the NRL because it is a good sport. I mean,
Yes,
they
it
have
is.
union, but still, more eyes on the league would be awesome.
So yes, it was in fact PNG 32 to Fiji 12. But the week before that, in the week 3 of the Pacific Championships, it was Fiji 43 to Papua New Guinea 16. So,
Mm.
but then we did obviously see the same thing, uh, in week 3 of the Pacific Championships. We saw Australia getting past New Zealand 36-18. And the week after in the final, we saw the Kiwis obliterating, well,
Yeah,
actually embarrassing Australia 30
that's
points to nil.
yeah. With the big bet I put on that one, that fucking stung, man. That stung.
Well, I tried to tell him that the Kiwis would get up, but he didn't want to believe me, so.
Yeah, like if they even just got one try, if Australia just got one try, I would have gotten I literally would have gotten my money back. But no.
Well, they didn't get a try, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be good for the um, country of Fiji.
Yeah.
Be good for them to see how big, how many fans they'll get.
Mm.
When the tickets release, there's going to be a sellout. It's going to be a bit of a quiet one. There's Justin Olam, is actually
Mm.
a PNG boy
Mm.
playing for the Storm. I don't think there's much Fijians, any Fijians, in fact, in the Storm and Knights team, but that'll be an interesting one in Fiji.
Yeah.
What else do we got here?
Did we
So,
cover Adam Blake, Golden
not yet. So we
Sharks?
found the news this morning. If anyone doesn't know, Adam Blake is off to Cronulla
Oh.
from 2025.
Do we know how much the deal is yet, or is it just
No, they haven't confirmed the price.
how much you reckon the deal would be?
Wouldn't be that much. It's probably
Well, how many years is he doing it for? Going to Sharks?
no idea.
Yeah, there's
I
not
don't
much
think it's
details on
that. Apparently, it's a long-term contract, though.
it.
I'm
Contract.
reading a long-term contract.
It's apparently it's a 4-year deal from 2025. Apparently.
Well,
Would you reckon that could be like
so
how
yeah,
much
one
do you
mil,
reckon?
1 mil a season for 4 years.
1 million is almost a $4 million deal.
$4 million for 4 years.
Well, Adam Blake is, I would say he's a little underrated in my opinion. I think he's a very good prop.
Yeah, very good.
He is,
Obviously,
yeah.
he's a try-scoring machine for the
Yeah,
Warriors.
yeah, absolutely.
He's pretty much. You could say some say He's equivalent to Payne Haas, but not. He's a Payne Haas just without the try scoring, pretty much.
Mm,
Well, add if Payne Haas was able to score tries every game, that's who Adam Vanua Blake is.
yeah.
He's pretty much his equivalent. So for 4 years for Cronulla, and he's only 20s. He's not that old. He's a bit of a young boy. I don't think he's probably late 20s. I'm pretty sure.
He's 28 years old.
So
Ah, that's
he's
actually kind
signed
of
on
surprising. I thought
till.
it was a little bit older.
So he's signing on obviously till he's 32.
Mm.
But then does he go back to the Warriors though? 2032 though. Oh, in 2029 actually it'll be.
Ooh. So he's 32.
He'll be 32 at the end of his contract. So it will be interesting. Obviously, Cronulla, they got a Dally M winner of Nico Hines,
Mm.
Dale Finucane, both from the Storm, both premiership winners. Not many people know about Nico Hines being a premiership winner.
Mm.
He was included in that 2020 Melbourne Storm team off the bench, but I don't think he played a single minute. But he was included in that team,
Mm.
so it does count towards a premiership. And of course, Dale Finucane did play in that game.
Yeah.
So Sharks, they're looking like they got a good team, but you take that into their season form, they're definitely not a premiership winning team, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Because we
we'll see. I
obviously,
mean, in 2025, because a lot can happen in 2020. The end of
because
it
we
with.
obviously saw 2022 Cronulla team. They were looking like minor premiers at once. Even they were looking at a premiership at one stage. Then come finals
Mm.
time, they lost to the Cowboys in a probably game of the decade in a huge 92 minutes of football we saw then. In that game, 32-30 to the Cowboys, and then obviously steamrolled by the Bunnies the week after, 30-10,
Bunnies on
out in
top.
straight sets.
Tweez.
And then obviously last year, losing to the Roosters 13-12. So Sharks losing, it's four straight games because they lost the finals match in 2021
Oh.
to, I think it was Canberra. Yeah, because they took the final top 8 spot and they lost to Canberra in 2021. So Cronulla have lost their last 4 finals matchups.
Wow.
So if they don't make the finals this season, could Adam Fanua-Blake be the missing key for Cronulla's premiership window?
I mean, maybe like. Guess we'll see in
I
2024.
mean,
Sorry, 2025.
of course, how do the Warriors go without him in 2025 as well? He's obviously a big loss. His last season
Oh
will
yeah.
be next season, of course, where he heads across the Tasman to join the Shire.
Who do you reckon they could replace Adam Fanua Blake with? Do you reckon they'll look for anyone specific?
Well, you wouldn't with Chuck Capel in the prop because he's not built like one, obviously. But
Mm.
I don't know. It really depends. Who's off the market in 2024. You can even pick up someone from maybe the Panthers. Try and steal one from Cronulla.
Mm. Oh yeah,
Or
like a little swapsies.
yeah, I don't know. You could steal someone from the Titans. Titans they actually have some pretty good forwards.
Oh yeah.
They got
Definitely.
a big Mo Fotuaika. And Dave Fafita, of course, probably one of the best second rowers in our game.
Mm.
Obviously, it was a beast in 2021,
Mm.
but it's all going to come down to who's available on the market for next season. But that's still a big signing for Cronulla.
Oh yeah,
Big
definitely.
for Cronulla, huge loss for the Wars.
Man, it's really interesting how it affects them because it's a little bit sad too because Warriors have recently gotten up because not too long ago they weren't doing too well. So hopefully
No,
they replace him with someone as good and won't affect them too terribly.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're all going to see in 2025
Mhm.
what it comes down to. So, a topic we know we didn't really get to add. Let's just jump onto our teams for a second.
Mm.
Obviously, you're a Bunnies boy,
Mhm.
and you know, this is going to be heartbreak for both of us because we're going to get on the Broncos soon anyway. But
Mm.
the Bunnies, you know, they've been they've been up and down in their recent history. Obviously,
Yep.
their last premiership in 2014, so it'll be their 10-year anniversary against the Bulldogs next season.
Mhm.
Last time they won their premiership, and then it's ever since about 2019 to 18. It's just we don't know. No one knows what's happening to the Bunnies. We'll go back to 2018. They made the preliminary final. Losing to the Roosters 12 points to 4. Fast forward to 2019, they got taken out again in the preliminary final, 16 to 10. 2020, what do you expect? Another preliminary final loss to the Panthers, 20 to 16. And then 2021, I don't want to say it, but he's unfortunately lost in the grand final by 2 points. 2022, what do you expect? Another preliminary final loss,
I just
32 to
don't.
12. But then you take it back to last year, round 11. Let's have a look. So round 11,
They were
round
monsters.
one,
Then they were monsters. I don't know what happened to that team.
round one was the win against the Sharks. You then lost the next 2 games. You then lost your last 2 games. You started the season 1 and 2. However, in fact, you start off the first 5 games. 2 wins, 3 losses. All
Mhm.
losses going to the Panthers, Roosters, and the Storm.
Mhm.
But then you went on an insane run. You
Mm.
absolutely destroyed the Bulldogs, 50 points to 16.
Yep.
Got up against the Dolphins, 36 to 14. You then beat the reigning premiers, the Penrith Panthers, 20 points to 18. You then absolutely come into Brisbane and steamroll the Bronx, 32 to 6. Already you're on a 4-game winning streak. And then comes Magic Round, 28 points to 12. That's 5 in a row. After round 10, the whole of the NRL community is thinking the Rabbits are winning the premiership.
Yep.
You take down the Panthers in a comeback victory. You then take down the Storm by 16 points at Magic Round.
Mhm.
At that point, everyone's thinking that the Bunnies win the premiership.
Yep.
But here's where it all starts to slip away. Round 12. The Rabbits are hosting the Parramatta Eels. The Eels had not been the greatest, but they come into Accor Stadium, steamroll the Bunnies 36 to 16. You then fast forward the week after. It's Origin week. Game 1 is approaching, and the Raiders get up against the Bunnies 33 to 26. Then fast forward a week later, Origin period is done. You then play the Titans. It's an easy steamroll, 46 to 28. And then, of course, it started to slip away again. After the bye, round 12 is where it all went to the shambles. You almost had probably the biggest comeback of the season, besides the Dolphins Titans. 36-30 to the Dragons in a loss. With 5 minutes to go, the Bunnies were down 36 to 14. With 5 minutes to go, they almost produced a comeback. Then off the bye week, you know, you think that, you've lost, you've lost 4 of your last you've lost 3 of your last 4 games. You needed this bye break. You're then at home taking on North Queensland Cowboys, who are on an insane 5-game winning streak. This is a must win. What happens? You get rolled by the Cowboys by 25, 31 to 6. And then you answer back with a huge win over the Warriors, who were second at the time. If the Warriors win this game, they'll be currently sitting first place looking for a minor premiership, but no, you end their hopes, winning 28-6 prior to losing the week before to the Cowboys at home. How does that turn around? No one knows. And then come Origin time again, 36-32 loss to the Bulldogs. Almost another comeback, and then it started to slip away again from here. Round 20, you're coming off a bye. The week before, round 21, you're at the Sunshine Coast. Latrell Mitchell was meant to return this game. Got named in the teams on Tuesday. Thursday morning, gets ruled out with a calf injury. You lose to the Bronx 36-20. So the Broncos were, of course, fighting for that minor premiership. Latrell Mitchell's return is against the Tigers. I'm pretty sure he got a hat trick this game. No, he didn't. Never mind. You then beat the Tigers on the road, 32-18. And then this game, the Bunnies and the Sharks in Perth. Both teams were fighting for a final spot. Cronulla had no hope of winning this game. Out of absolutely nowhere, the Bunnies played one of their worst football.
Yeah.
Had one of the worst football performances we've seen in years from the Bunnies.
Nearly finished that game to 0. I literally turned the game off. I literally turned it off.
Somehow lost 26-16 to Cronulla. But it's alright, you're responding Cairns with a win to the Dragons by 12, however. And then this is the game that pretty much cost you the finals. 29-10 to the Newcastle Knights. You're then off a bye. Somehow, you still have a chance of making the finals versus the Roosters. Accor Stadium, it's a sellout crowd. Sydney Derby, winner goes into the finals. The whole NRL community is on the Rabbitohs side. Unless you're a Roosters fan, you're tipping the Bunnies to win this game. Out of absolutely nowhere, the Roosters get up 26-12. So, round 12 loss to Parramatta Eels is the reason that you didn't make the finals. What happened from round 12 onwards?
I don't know. I mean,
in your thoughts, what are you thinking from that loss from round 12?
I don't know what happened to the team that beat the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Storms all 3 in a row. Like, I don't know what happened to that team. I think some alien species just took over the Rabbitohs and just decided to fuck our season up. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what to say. I just was baffled, and it pissed me off.
From round 13, it was Origin week that week. So we had round 13, and then week after was meant to be Origin. Latrell Mitchell, obviously, was going to play in Origin. He got injured. Latrell Mitchell then missed rounds 14 all the way through to 21. Do you use Latrell Mitchell unavailable as an excuse?
I don't know. Like, I always, like, for me, it's always been something to do with State of Origin, because that's around the time that we started, like, going on a huge downfall. So I don't know. I think State of Origin has something to do with it. And yeah, also, with Latrell Mitchell being unavailable. I don't know. I just hope that they sort out their shit this season break and they come back strong in the next season, because really I don't know what happened. I really don't.
Everyone had them premiership favourites from round 10.
Yeah.
Obviously, first 5 games it was 2-3, and then you bloody starting off the season at 5-5, premiership favourites. And then, somehow round 12 let it slip away.
Speaking of downfalls, what happened in the grand final?
Alright, now that's where your torture's over.
No, just ask it. What happened in the grand final of the Broncos,
That's what I'm going to get to very shortly.
Up by, just explain that.
Alright, that's what I'm going to get to very shortly. We then move over to the Bronx. Your torture's over. to me, it's not really a torture. Yes, we may have lost. Yes, we may have choked the biggest lead in the grand final in NRL
Mm-hmm.
history, but you still put this into a positive. Yes, we may have lost. Yes, we may have choked the 16-point lead in the last 20 minutes. That's the only negative we got from that game. Everything else was a positive
Mm.
because think about it. Ezra Mam, Reese, all of that team, but Adam Reynolds, never played in the grand final in their lives. Apart from Kurt Capewell and Adam Reynolds, not one single player in that starting 17 had played in the grand final. And to say that you lost to a team that had made the grand final for 3 consecutive years, to say you lost by 2 to that team whilst never making a grand final is a positive.
Mm.
Like, you know, Panthers had obviously lost to the Storm in 2020, but then they won 2 consecutive. You know, everyone wrote us off before the grand final even happened.
Mm.
Everyone was, saying, "Oh, the Panthers are gonna absolutely get past the Broncos," and then, we obviously, I think we scored. No, we didn't. We didn't score the first try. Once Tommy Flegler crossed the line in the 89th and the 39th minute, every fan started to believe that the Bronx were a threat. And then,
Mm.
obviously comes Ezra Mam's hat trick.
Yeah, I thought the game was over at that point.
Every single person in the stadium and watching the game live probably turned their TV off.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone watching that game probably turned their TV off thinking the Bronx have just won a premiership
Yeah, I just
and the
thought.
Panthers 3-peat is over.
Yeah, I remember
And
when
then,
that happened. I turned the car over and said I could probably sleep easy now, knowing my bet's gonna go through because I did have them winning in the grand final.
yeah. So with 20 minutes to go in the game, everyone's thinking Ezra Mam scores in the 60th minute. Everyone's thinking I'm going to sleep. The Bronx have
Mm-hmm.
just won a premiership.
Mm-hmm.
They then check the news 30 minutes later and see that the Panthers have won their 3rd consecutive premiership.
Mm.
Everyone then chucks the TV back on and they just can't believe their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that 30 minutes ago the Bronx were winning by 16 to then seeing full time the Panthers have won the game. No, even the whole of Brisbane still can't even process that of what
Yeah.
just happened.
Yeah, apparently
But
when they were down at their worst, Nathan Cleary said to his team that, "Don't worry, boys, I'll get us out of this." And he did what he said. He did get them out of it, which is insane.
that's just I still can't process that. But let's just move away from the grand final. Our season itself was better than expected, to be honest.
Nope.
Obviously 2022, we had our sights set on the top 4 position, and then we literally did a Rabbitohs, and somehow slipped out of it.
Yep.
We were in
Did
the
a
top
Rabbitohs.
4, and then we somehow found our way in 9th position. And everyone's thinking, oh yeah, the Broncos are going to do the exact same thing. No, the Broncos beat the back-to-back champs in the first game. 13 points to 12 in Penrith. Everyone's thinking, oh, the Broncos are contender this season after one game. Everyone's thinking it's an overreaction. Fast forward to week 2, Reece Walsh, his first game in Broncos jersey. Even though he had already signed with the Bronx,
Mm.
beforehand, he was originally signed with the Bronx before he went to the Warriors.
Mm.
He had never put on a Broncos jersey and stepped on a rugby field in an NRL at NRL level. So this is his first game against the Cowboys, and it's a win. And then, obviously fast forward to round 5, we won our first 5, being the Panthers, Cowboys, Dragons, Dolphins, Tigers. Yes, some could say the first 4 out of those 5 were easy. The Panthers, the only hard one. Penrith Premiership. Cowboys, they just come off a preliminary final. The Dragons, have wooden spooners that season. Dolphins, no one knows how they were going to go. The West Tigers, obviously, had just come off a wooden spoon. And then we suffered our first loss against Canberra at home, which was actually very, very surprising. Still don't know how we lost that game, but we did. Even I still question how we lost that game to this day. And then week after, it's the first derby for us. Well, second derby against the Titans. It was actually a very, very competitive game up until I think it was David Fafita's Tino Sinbin, where we scored 3 straight tries in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we ran away with it 43-26.
Yeah.
And of course we took down the Parramatta Eels. And then everyone's thinking, most of the fans think that the Broncos are a serious premiership contender. And then of course the week after we played some team called the Rabbitohs. And well, I mean we did lose to them. And then of course, most fans are thinking the Rabbitohs and Bronx could probably meet in the grand final. I remember hearing a lot of Rabbitohs fans saying, "Oh yeah, we'll meet the Bronx in the grand final," and then even the Broncos fans saying, "Yeah." But and then up until round 10, we only had 2 losses. Obviously, we beat Manly in Magic Round, and then this is where we probably tested our strength, losing to the Storm and then losing to the Panthers. And pretty much after that, from rounds 13 through to 27, we only had 1 loss, and that was to the Titans, 18-12. And then that was literally our last loss until the grand final. Oh, no. We then lost for the Storm, 32-22, which cost us a minor premiership. So I'm still saying, point is that the Broncos season went 10 times above expectations. And that Broncos were probably the biggest surprise of the season. And that's biasy. Even though the Warriors finished top 4, Broncos making the grand final, finishing top 2 was the biggest surprise of the season. So it all went wrong for the Bronx in the grand final, and all went wrong for the Rabbitohs in their season. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically Rabbitohs and Bronx doing the same thing.
Sticking to one team making the grand final when the other can't. One choking the grand final, the other didn't, because they didn't play in a grand final. But well, the question is though, who's going to take it out?
Obviously, Bunnies. They'll bounce back. They'll win every single game.
Please.
13 plus.
No.
Yeah, that's basically it, right?
Pretty much all we need to cover for the week. Just the off-season news. I didn't realize we've been going for 54 minutes, but there's a lot of talk about in 54 minutes.
Yeah, we haven't covered anything ever. I mean, first episode.
Ricky, the only one we missed out was Ricky re-signing in 2027, but it's obviously big for the Bronx, of course.
Yeah.
Other than that, it should be everything I want to discuss. You want to discuss?
Yeah.
All right. That'll be episode 1 of Sports
Tap.
Sports on Tap.
Sports on Tap, yep.
Sports on Tap podcast. And we're gonna have a Instagram coming up within the next couple of days.
Yep. Also YouTube,
And YouTube, we're gonna get
if you're not watching on that right now.
yes. So we're gonna get YouTube, Instagram, possibly an X, Twitter, maybe for anyone that doesn't really use Instagram as much. We'll keep that in discussion.
Yeah.
But be sure to keep an eye out on YouTube and Instagram for our upcoming accounts. Other than that, that's everything I've covered and that we've covered. Make sure, share us around. We're trying to get, obviously, we don't expect that much people to tune into us straight away, but I say if we get 100K, we get 100K. If we get one, we get one. This is just the start of it. If there's
Not just the
anything,
start.
not just start. If there's anything you want us to cover, and that we missed out, let us know, and then we'll get into that in the next podcast. But we don't really have a schedule on when we're gonna, release a podcast or start a podcast.
Could be next week or not until like NRL starts.
It could be March, the day of Las Vegas. It could be, in 3 weeks. It could be midway through next season. But I'm sure once NRL comes, we'll definitely make a set schedule.
Yeah, like weekly. Like give our tips and that.
We'll do our Thursday morning, preview on the Thursday on the week coming up, and then we'll cover everything that happened from the weekend on Monday Arvo, Monday night.
Yeah.
And like I said at the start, if you want to see any other sports, let us know. Other than that, I'm signing off. That's me.
Laters.